What's up? We're in the next part. I don't like handling my phone with gel or product and whatnot, but anyway, whatever. Please check out the previous part to gauge your bearings, where I was explaining what's going on. I was explaining like the things that cause people to lose everything, and how it is that you don't get to say you're a victim, people broke us up, when what do you call this, when you indeed lose something. If at all you also participated in the mutiny against a person's life. If you participated in the mutiny against a person's life, you lose your standing as a victim, you lose your protection rights, you lose your right for recourse. When in and of yourself you become a perp, and that's what happened with my ex. He made himself a perpetrator, and so therefore everybody that victimized him, he's in the same camp now. Bonke bayafana namhlanje. Into one, bonke mabahlangene, they're the same thing. They're the same thing, and it's unfortunate that they're the same thing because he was a better man than all of them. And I've said this before. I've done a whole Batong. I don't know how many parts that series was. It could have been like 20 parts. I don't know. It could have been like 20 parts. I get Hlongwane. 2034, like maybe even going into the 30s, where I was just rapping on and on and on, explaining the story of my ex. This is now a very briefed up version. This is a light version of the full story. If you want the full story, go and check out that video. It's like, yeah, please, in my whole stash, y'all are gonna be watching this content ka tribulation, so exactly this thing that I'm explaining, but this is the express version of the explanation as to what happened there, because my ex is busy at it again. Busy with me, and my thing is, boy, or like, you lost us, you threw us away, and I am the victim truly, whereas when you're a perpetrator. Now we perp, and so because you're a perp, it doesn't matter. It also does not matter that my friends baskawatile. It does not matter because mina imni one kawategile right now. Ngoba mina zanga takatha muntu. I did not bewitch anybody. Mina bangilahle bangizusubhlungu ngabi skepsele in a very innocent way. Ni skepsele the way that the real deal skepsele is. Ke sono ka ngwana batho, ke skepsele seo. Wena mara how skepsele seo, because you would have been that skepsel, ne? If you had not done what under heaven it is that you did. You and I would have been a separated couple. They would have broken us up, and we would have come to learn years down the line and been mad at them. And you know, maybe on that day we could both feel sorry for each other when we were just perfectly cool, the two of us. But herein lies the deal. XD the arma skepsel, and you're not. You're not the skepsel, are you? How skepsel abut? You made yourself a perp. And anyway, so yeah, I was busy explaining before my ex-boyfriend became a perp. Before he became a perpetrator, he was innocent in the matter, until so much witchcraft destruction wreaked havoc in our relationship that he could not help but become a perp. Not only witchcraft destruction, but actual sowing of discord, deeds, things that are said, things that are done by people that caused mina ne boyfriend. Yeah, the thing that caused me and my boyfriend to basically just kind of like have a really rough time. He's the one that acted a fool on me in a way that broke my heart so bad. Like, yo, I didn't know whether I was coming or going. Like, you know, when you love a guy so much and he's just not acting right, and you're not ready to let go. Like when you're so in love with someone that you're not ready. Because this hurts, but I'm not ready to let go because I'm so in love, but it hurts. Like, what are you doing? You're breaking my heart, dude, even though I'm not ready to let go. So please make it less difficult for me. It took 5 years for me to finally prosper to get out. Every single time before then, I just went back because I wasn't ready, but I got ready. The Lord made me ready. Niggas were 5 years young. So he was the perp. Yeah, this man who became a perp, who was, however, initially a victim in and of himself. There was a woman that passed him up because of the fact that but she had experienced, however briefly, she had experienced him, okay? And she's the one that called it, quits. Like, she was like, no, I can't. I explained how this union even happened in that long 34-part series where I explained the history of this relationship and how things got there so that people can realize the nonsense that they do. So I'm not gonna label, like I said, this is the express version, but there was some chick that he liked a lot, loved, he said he loved her, type thing, to a point of even breaking my heart. I once asked him, what woman have you ever loved the most? And he said to me, instead of saying you, Karabo, he said that girl. I was, beginning of our relationship, very early stages, I was so heartbroken. I was like, how in the world are you going to tell me that there is somebody else out there that has your heart heavier than me? So that's what under heaven was going on with this chick. Megamfuna, high and low. She had a kid with some long story, but to explain that thing. But like, she wanted this, he wanted this cheeky, but this cheeky was the one that was like, no, because he didn't have much. She probably made other excuses along the lines of, no, but you know, it can't work, blah, blah, whatever. But like, knowing my ex-boyfriend, he probably worked really hard to try and make this work, seeing as he said that he loved her the way that he did. Type thing, it didn't work. Yeah, but they stayed friends and were kept together by I'm not going to explain it. I'm not going to labor on it, but there was a child involved, not his, somebody else's, and this kid was his goddaughter type thing. Never mind the kid, but just they grew up together, like in the same sort of kind of circles type thing. Same, not so much neighborhood, but just same circles, like you know each other from long ago, so they stayed friends type thing in each other's lives. Plus some of her friends were dating, I'm breaking my hair as well, and some of her friends were dating my ex's friends, so they had to see each other because of the events that would bring them together, blah blah. Imedi zabangani bakhe, imedi zabangani ba my ex were her friends, some of them, yeah. Okay, cool beans, yeah. So they kept together, they were in touch, whatever. They were still friends, whatever it is that they call friendship. And so, mind you, of course, this chick then happened. She found out about me when we started dating. All the other girls that came after her, nebali busy my ex, because you know he didn't have much. I told you about the one chick that was always busy, Speedy, the celebrity, and what have you. That's what's good. Yeah, so this chick discovers, she finds out that my ex is with somebody, and this time around this chick is like sticking around. Not only is she sticking around, but she's helping him. Like, I became a helper suitable to a man. That's why this random dating, you guys shouldn't do it, because then you're gonna end up awarding a man wife benefits as a girlfriend, and then when you break up, there's all that bitterness out here brewing through your pores. Okay, like, try and avoid it. Anyway, whatever. So I became helper suitable to this guy, even though I was not married to him, but that was supposed to be a hint. Remember, he had friends that were old enough to get married just as he was. However, his friends were even readier than him to get married, precisely because they had that much more. And so this chick discovers that me and my ex are together. She imagines that it's just another one of those relationships that he keeps on getting into, that fizzle away after a couple of months. But never mind, my ex, what is this? We were close, man. We were tight in a way that my ex just wasn't tight with any other girl. Really tight. And this chick was like user, like she was financially sort of abusive, like she had gotten herself used to that. And my ex-boyfriend, with all of these other women, what is this that he was with, he never disclosed the nature of his relationship with this chick to them, and the fact that they basically almost ended up together or whatever, right? He never disclosed that to many of his other exes, so they didn't have qualms with her. But he did disclose to me, and because we were close, my ex and I spoke about everything. We were tight. Nothing eluded me, nothing eluded him, blah blah, etc. about me, etc. And nothing about him eluded me. So when I found out about the nature of these two's relationship prior to me, my alarms, my alert wiring just kind of peaked and what have you. I was, every time the calls would come through, every time she would call him, and I realized that she was like using him financially. Like, here is this guy that's barely survived, like providing for our relationship. And then some chikupis and some mokopogamo betches 80,000, 2,000, 3,000. July. And nahene kisa betches, guys, right? I never expected my ex to give me an allowance or anything of that nature. Nothing like that happened with me. And so when some other woman is busy being bachelored by your man, yes, like it, but and literally chelete lofty, guys. Like she would wait for basically the 25th of the month, around month end, and then she would call him on some, I need 1,500. I need 2,000, knowing that she wouldn't pay him back. And this dude used to just give her money. He would just give her money prior to us. And when, however, the two of us started dating, and I discovered that so one day he actually, like, literally asked me to try. Hey, yes, my daughter. He asked me to, like, I got a car first, right? So we both didn't have cars initially. Then I got a car, and I was driving my mom's car at the time. I can't recall, but I was basically driving. And he asked me to drive him to Clearwater. I think we had just watched a movie or eaten at the restaurant. And then he asked me to, a call comes through while we are driving out of Clearwater Mall. And then he's like, please, can you just stop by the ATM? But not before first a phone call comes through from her. And then she asks him for money. And he then stops. He then is like, can you please stop at the ATM? Ne? Not like send like a time or something. I can't recall, using the ATM. I did not know that it was her on the phone. But then something told me when he came back from the ATM to ask who was on the phone that made you ask me to basically do a detour before we leave Clearwater Mall to the Standard Bank ATM. Who Nilemang, and he was like, Inelele Rato. Let's say her name was Lerato. He was like, Inelele Rato. Yo, asiki hu futa. Hasiki hu futa. I was like, you're not her baby daddy. You're not this and that. You're not paying child maintenance. You know, why under heaven are you busy giving imali to this chick when you don't even buy me airtime? Is it because Nike independent? Is it because that chick had her own job too, whatnot, and what have you? Mara onamu user. What I'm trying to get at is that this chicky nearly usanyana ya abuser. Anyway, yeah, and I got mad. I got so angry, and that was just the beginning of what would be a 1.5 year battle to get this woman out the way, or else. And it was because I was literally 5 seconds out the door that my ex finally put his foot down concerning this chick. Wamtshela one time ukuthi mina, you can't keep asking me for imali zama-7 July ngoba nginemedi and my girlfriend doesn't like it. He told her that because my boyfriend realized that unlike all these other chicks, I stuck around even though I discovered his inability to comprehensively provide for a relationship, if you know what I mean. And that for him was worth the while to hold on to, versus somebody omshile, like she ditched him or the prospect of being with him because he didn't have much. And when then he noticed that this was about to end a relationship that he had with a woman that was actually ride or die, he was like, Yazene, I'm not gonna mess with what I have with Karabo just to keep on pleasing this chick. No, but I still have feelings for her. Bottom line is, whether or not I have feelings is irrelevant, because at the end of the day, lanang pete something reliable. I've got something that is good, and I'm in love, and I'm happy, and I've never been happier. I've never been in a trusting relationship with somebody, so I'm gonna put my foot down. He finally did, but it nearly broke us up. That whole thing that was going on with that other chick. Do you understand what I'm saying? Permanently type establishment thing that she was being rebuked even by her own friends and sister because she wouldn't let him go. Like, it's like, dude, but it was they all were friends, so they were like, don't you want him to be happy? The guy's got a girlfriend and she was prepared to be with him when you weren't, so like, just leave them. She was being rebuked, this chick, and so because of that, she became kind of bitter. She didn't like me. She hated the living daylights out of me. Because for this like random chick that came into the picture after me. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wouldn't have come into the picture, cheeky, if you had just loved him back. Like, yeah, he tried to love you, you wouldn't. Like, no side game type establishment thing. Yeah, however, she became the bane of my existence for a very long amount of time. It nearly broke up our relationship. It was one of the biggest stumbling blocks in our relationship. But my ex-boyfriend, this chick, was one of the stumbling blocks. And so too were so many other things. So precisely because of the very phenomenon of this chick, and then here it is that you have a man, and this man has you. And the two of y'all are basically building a life together, against all odds, I suppose. All right, where it is that this dude una sokola, and I guess it's still sokola rank, but you're sticking by his side. My ex took for granted the fact that I was sticking around. I remember one time he even laughed and said that, "Hey baby, marawangada," and I was like, "Yeah, I do, but like, don't get comfy." He got comfy. And not only did he get comfy, he started taking some pretty nefarious advice. So here it is that I'm with this dude and we get along like a house on fire. Nothing like our PDAs, our public displays of affection, and our tightness, how close we were. That never ended. Like throughout the relationship, when we were not busy fighting, when we were not busy arguing, because that's just the thing. We were so tight, we were so close, that it was hard to break up. The void was just so extreme when we broke up, that even though because he was messing up big time, I couldn't, because the emotional pain of not being with him was just too extreme. Mogu hectic. It was too hectic. I couldn't take it. One time after we broke up at the call center, I couldn't take calls until my boss gave me a final written warning. Like, it was that hectic. Yeah, type of stuff to cause a deep psychosis in a person, because you're not with somebody. So if I had lost that guy, if he had died, given how reckless sometimes he was, I was gonna go mad, right? Yeah, anyway, we were very, very, very tight. That's what made it near on impossible for me to leave. Christ, Jesus Christ was the only reason I was able to get out of that. Only. That's how trapped in that situation I was, guys. It was bad, because by the time Jesus Christ rocked up, in the beginning, it was organic. The love and the mutual respect was organic. Towards the end, I was being manipulated. Why? Because he got insecure by the fact that the very same things that all the other women left him for, because I was like, dude, fine, I'm happy to be there for you as you grow, but you gotta actually grow. You can't stay stagnant. I'm not gonna grow and be this powerhouse as a woman with a weak man. Like, you need to get your act together. And I would vocalize these things. Like I told you, my ex was just so stagnant that it got to a point of low-key emasculation when I was complaining about his stagnancy. And so because of that, he then decided he's gonna take matters into his own hands and keep me in the relationship. Make sure because who's he gonna have? So I have reason to believe that I was the first woman that my ex-boyfriend ever put spells on, because he had, I guess, PTSD trauma to a certain extent of being left by women because he didn't have nothing. And with me, he could not stand or stomach the prospect of us being broken up, because I was ride or die. And on top of that, he did actually love me and we had a meaningful relationship. It was actually a relationship. Top of that, his family loved me, blah, blah, all that jazz. It was something quite serious. That's what I'm getting at. What we had was deep. It was extreme. It was not as fickle, superficial as all the other relationships he was in. So the prospect of losing me and then having to struggle, imedi again, in the future, that would make sense for him. That would not be superficial and whatnot. It was like, to him, it was like, Ntole, I found a woman, that's gonna stick by my side. I can't be left by Karabo because I'm still not where I'm supposed to be in life. So what in the world under heaven, especially given that I've grown a couple of years from even the date that I met Karabo, what's gonna come my way next? What's gonna come my way? Goodness, my ex-boyfriend got a car in the last year of our relationship. He was already in his 30s. That was his first car. For crying out loud. Like, he was so slow. He did everything at a snail's pace. And in the beginning, things were not a snail's pace because of the fact that he actually took everything that I said to heart. The Bible says that husbands, listen to your wives, otherwise your prayers will be hindered. So basically, he was doing what he was supposed to do in the sight of God. Remember, I told you guys that some couples meet before they get saved, and then they get saved and Christ later, and then you discover vele uguti God put a woman in a man's life so that she would straighten him up so he can fly right. We are helper suitables, and I was sent, I guess I was supposed to be this guy's help to wake up from the slumber that he was in. However, like, I was able to defibrillate him out of that. But the thing that caused my ex to slow down, in the beginning he was doing well, we were growing well, and he was transforming his life. He even gained weight. Like I told you guys, he was no longer in the party scene that much anymore. He spent all this time with me. His family loved me. He was a transforming man. It was because his friends made an observation of these changes that I was making in his life. I was a helper suitable. Like, in the beginning of this chat session, I spoke about how it is that black people don't like to see black people do well. Black folk are each other's biggest saboteurs, and so they mess with things that are perfect, that are good. Like when they were busy, they were just staring at him, gather dust in these streets, and do nothing about his life. That's what his friends were doing. They were just staring at him in his stagnancy. And I rocked up and I nudged him, I moved him. I moved a log that was just stationary and I gave it wheels. And it started to move. And his boys got jealous. They did not have those right. I can't say that were not right or die. They were messing with their girlfriends as well. They were not, what is this? They were not sober towards their girlfriends. They were not good towards their women. They were unloving, unromantic, and they were cheats. Like my ex-boyfriend, we used to go everywhere together. And so sometimes I would see, what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that I was the one Medi that was always there. I was the one chick that was always there, and that annoyed the living daylights out of his friends. I was the one main chick that was always around, whereas all the other women, every so often I got to meet the women that their men were betraying them with. I was always meeting side pieces. Black girls don't care about each other, and they don't have each other's back. Like proper, your guy, like these guys would bring a jump off, a side piece, and if at all any of the middies were there when the side pieces were being presented before us all, these middies would keep quiet. They wouldn't tell the chick. My ex had a cousin that was just a prolific cheat, mega hectic, guess what, and whatnot. And I don't know how many times I got to see his side pieces when I knew his main chick, and she was so sweet, she was so innocent. If anything, he broke her virginity. Like a virgin type thing. Yeah, and he used to change them like changing underwear, wankutwa. And every time when we would be partying with this guy, I would see all these different girls, and I never told the chick, I never let her know. I never let her know. Black girls are like that. Like, yo, Yazin, I don't know. Black women, like, angas. I don't know if this happens across other cultures, but there's so much betrayal among black people. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, black chicks watch men cheat on their friends and they don't say a word. On some too, and I was like that too. I discovered the folly of my ways, of course. There's no way I'd ever stick around in that boulevard anymore. Because that which is immoral and wicked must be exposed. So, Mina, I got to meet all of these side chicks. I got to meet so many side chicks. Like, and I'm not a mean girl. I never can be. Like, remember I told you guys that one of my ex's friends' girls was, she didn't like me in the beginning when she met me because she thought I was my ex's side piece. Until she discovered that they broke up. I told you that relationship just kind of ended in J. Akukhulunywanga as to siyaqedalana or siyaphumelela or zikipane. It just ended. And because if it didn't fell that abruptly, budlapa type establishment thing, this chick didn't like me when we first met. She passed me quite a lot of shade, and I was wondering, but why doesn't this chick like me? And later on she would confess, Uguti, the reason why I was giving you all that attitude was because I knew that your man had Imedi, and that's the one that I knew for a while. And then he rocked up with you, and I thought you would just decide, and so that's why I gave you all that attitude on the first night. But as time progressed, I guess I came to discover that you weren't the side because you stuck around. Yeah, you're the real deal now. That's what's good. So yeah, my apologies type thing. You know, that very thing That very thing, the fact that all she did was just pass me shade. All she did was give me attitude nyana. But actually, like, you know, tell me, like, do you know who this guy made? Or do you, or hey guys, man, yeah, we just don't tell. Don't ask, don't tell. Keep it secret. Keep it a secret. That's what it is. And keep it secret that were disgusting and disturbing. So I saw so many side pieces, and it was very disturbing. And all I could think, when I remember even asking my ex-boyfriend, Jaka, all these boys of yours bring their side pieces. Now, where do you bring your side piece yako to them? When a side piece. And he'd be like, babe, but come on, you know, like, we spend all our time together. Like, when am I gonna have time for a side piece? Like, where am I gonna get, when type thing. Anyway, yeah, I believed him. I believed that he couldn't cheat on me until he did. Yeah, even his mom one time told me, he's not into cheating. And she wasn't wrong. Cheating is actually a genetic trait in men, by the way. There are others who do it more than others and with less qualms than others. Type establishment thing. However, that does not necessarily mean that a guy that is not, you know, easily inclined towards cheating won't do it. There are men who get seduced even though they don't just choose to cheat on their women, and that seduction, they can't resist it, and so they cheat. And my ex was like that. His friends that were envious, that made an observation of the change of this man when he met me, literally introduced him to women that would sleep with him, like seduce him. Guys, on two occasions, my ex-boyfriend cheated on me. 2 occasions that I found out about. At the end of our relationship, I discovered that he also cheated on me because he smelled like another woman. Yeah, and every single time that this happened, he was always in the company of his boys. It was never something that he went out of his way to book into a hotel to do. It's like he was just awarded a bed to go and lay with some other woman in the house where his friend stays, because that's what a man does in Dota. Indota does not, like, you right now, you're whipped. You are allowing a woman to basically agrule, to reign over you, and you cannot let that happen. You need to man up, and their way of him manning up was him cheating on me. He was made to cheat on me on 2 occasions that I know of. It shattered me so badly that's actually the thing, by the way, that caused me to get a final written warning at the call center where I was working for Nedbank. I interrogated him about what I imagined to be cheating because he was acting strangely. He had changed his behavior, and that made me interrogate him until he confessed. And when he confessed, I could not do anything. I promised him that I wouldn't leave him. I didn't. I stayed with him, but like, he cheated on me. Both occasions he was at a friend's house, and the chick was brought by the friend. The friend basically kind of shoved this chick in my boyfriend's face. What do you think of this little hairstyle? All of these, what do you call them? Dito fader. The Milky Way situation. The conditioner, whatever you want to call it. The moisturizer, it'll fade. I've put it all in a bunch, in a knot. Am I happy with this hairstyle? I'm not sure. I feel like it's so boring. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, we're gonna like not do this because it's just so kang. Anyway, yeah, look, my ex's friends felt like he wasn't man enough because of the fact that some woman was telling him what to do. I wasn't telling him what to do. I was being a helper suitable to get him to where he needed to get in life. But that's the thing about worldly men. They don't get stuff like that. I was worldly too, but men in the world are so deluded. They think that by acting like little boys forever. But the Bible says a man must leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two become one flesh. If my ex had done that, we'd be married today, and we would have gotten married very young. We would have, rided it out, struggled in a little 1-bed apartment until it became a 2-bed, until it became a 3-bed, and whatnot. And he would have had the best thing since sliced bread while nobody else recognized it. This, when people made a realization that he was growing from strength to strength, it was not enough for his boys who claimed to care about him to leave him be in this relationship because one, happy, and secondly, what is this? Hey man, he's growing. He's like basically progressing. He's just been sitting around gathering dust in life. gathering dust, and this chick rocks up and his life changes. His life changes. So just be happy for your boy, because it's finally isn't the right in his life. The right things are happening in his life. But instead, they just coveted the fact that he had a ride or die girlfriend. They felt ingati bona, they had to be whatever it is that women insist men be before they will give them a chance. You gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta whatnot. He found a ride or die, anyana luto, and his boys envied that. They coveted it to a point of causing him to cheat on me. One of his friends of which developed a crush on me, telling himself, but like, she lives in my neighborhood, why did you meet her first? Why didn't she meet me first? I did not know that this guy had a crush until after we after we broke up. I had a dream, right, of him asking me to get back together with my ex-boyfriend because he was about to marry a woman that none of them approve of, and that he's sorry for breaking us up because of his own selfish feelings for me. And like, you know, when you just covet a man's girl secretly in a corner, privately, you don't say anything about it. And so you basically sabotage that situation because when unomona, you don't want to see him happy with her because you low-key got a crush or something of that nature. And in my dream, he confessed that crush and said that that's why he caused him, he basically pushed him to some, I was going to say adulterous affair, but we were not married. Some chick that he cheated, like he slept with some woman without protection, for crying out loud. In some house, this guy, drunk and potentially even high, because he was being pressurized by his boys to do that, because apparently, allegedly, Kotwa Muhle, boy, and you guys, you know you have chemistry, and Karabo, like, yeah, like, it's not like you're gonna leave her. All of us, sine medi. But, I mean, let men do what men do. And so based on your man, let men do what men do. My ex-boyfriend, well, at the time, I guess he was my boyfriend, he cheated on me because he was just being cheered. It was like a whole drinking spree at a pub where everybody's like, drink, 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 drink. But instead of drink, 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 it's cheat, 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 cheat. That whole cheat thing happened like two occasions that I found out about. And like I said to you guys, the third occasion that I discovered, it was because he smelled like a woman. I don't know of any other time that he cheated. If he did it, it was hidden. It was concealed from me. I didn't find out. But the one, the woman that he slept with without a condom, I squeezed it out of him because I told him that I tricked him. I told him that I took an HIV test. That's what I said. I just said I took an HIV. I was like, have you been cheating on me? Because I took an HIV test. That's what I said. And instead of being like, so what if you took an HIV test, you know we're negative, he was like, and? He was like, and? In other words, what did it come out as? Was it positive? And like, we had both tested for HIV, it came back negative. And so if this guy is torn or confused about whether or not my HIV test came back negative or positive, he was basically confessing that he not only cheated on me, but that he slept with that woman without a condom, because that is just how, like, all of a suddenly this thing was spurned on him. That's just how quickly it happened. Like, he was in an environment where he didn't just walk around with condoms, because in and of ourselves we didn't use them, and he was not the type to just cheat. So the fact that he did was it happened in an environment where it was not planned. He did not walk into an ecosystem ngama condom thinking I'm gonna have sex. He just ended up having sex that night, and it was basically the beginning of the end, even though it was only 6 months into our relationship. 6 months, and in that 6 months he cheated on me on two separate weekends that were very close to each other with two different women. And I don't know if both times were unprotected or just the one, but I do know that they happened at different locations, different houses of two different friends of his that were fed up with what they called this woman is changing our friend. We don't want this for our friend. Like, a woman must know her place. A woman must not tell a man what to do. A woman must just sit and be quiet and let a man do his thing, except before I came into my ex's life, he was sitting around gathering dust, doing nothing to improve his future. Here it is that I'm grabbing my nape hairs again to make them grow. He was just sitting around doing nothing to grab his future, and I came into the picture and all that changed. He started to motion all different kinds of activity to improve impilo yakhe, and his boys could not appreciate at least that. They just left him to gather dust, and I rocked up, improved izinto to a point of especially the women in his family really liking me, because he was finally doing what he needed to do as a man. And then they made a decision ukuthi our friend uyathathwa, and futhi nale girlfriend yakhona she's everywhere. We go to parties there. She meets our side pieces. She's like everywhere. All of us here chinchisana ngabafazi, and he's the only one who's busy with the same chick. And they afflicted us. Not only did the one guy, cause him to cheat on me with some other woman, right? Look, this is a grown man, so ain't nobody made him do what it is that he didn't want to do. He should have made a better decision. That's why I get it. He was a perp in and of himself. You get to choose my decisions, wako. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not only did the one friend make him, not make him, but he caused him to consider deeply cheating on me until he finally did. But that guy also used witchcraft on our relationship when, even though he cheated on me and it caused so much pain in our relationship, it nearly broke us up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Even though that happened, we reconciled, we made it work, we worked on it. That guy, my ride or die state, like he was so covetous of how ride or die I was to that guy. He just could not believe that a woman could be that loyal to a man. He was envious, he was covetous, and he liked me as well. And so for him, it was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep watching you nalo Karabo wako all up in my grill. And so he graduated. He moved from just influence to now spiritual manipulation. That was the first spell that came at our relationship from a friend of his. Some dude on Adula or Namo, Mo Little Falls, Post Rubens Valley. He was the first person to cast spells on me and my ex-boyfriend. Our relationship, unana lemona, and he liked me. Unana lemona, like, yeah. I angazi why he did not look out in these streets for his own ride or die. But that's just the thing. You won't even spot when a woman is the right one. When in and of yourself, when in and of yourself you don't make sense. In and of yourself, when is a woman ever gonna display that reactanda if you are not consistent with girlfriends? When are you ever gonna get to discover Uguti this one is a keeper? So perhaps maybe if that guy had just been a better man to whatever woman he was dating, he might have actually enjoyed happiness. He feels as if though he should have met me first. The way I was never gonna be happy with him. I was better off na my ex anyway, whatever. So that was the first person to cast spells on our relationship, but we stayed together. Despite all that, however, I kept complaining because of the spells that were cast on us. Not only the spells, but my ex kept on getting a man cave of silly boys talking smack into his ear. Do you understand what I'm saying? He kept on getting his silly boys talking about how it is that a man mustn't do this, a man mustn't do that. His dad was also responsible. This is an express version. They just felt Ingati, my ex was being controlled by me, ruled, except when you looked at his life and everything that had changed or improved since I rocked up, they should have just been grateful and shut up. They should have just sat down and shut up because he found a good thing. He found a helper suitable that was going to ride it out with him as he grew. But to them, it was like a man must not be told by Umfazi what to do. Who else was out here trying to help that guy get a driver's license? Who else was trying to get that guy to improve in his career, gain ambition? Who else was trying to help him up with his business? Who? Because none of these boys came to the picture, literally no one. And yet when a woman came that was trying to help him along in these respects, they were just like, Indota, Aizo, Chelwa, Utienzen, Umfazi. When I'm where were you? Exactly my point. Yonke le nonsense in the black community. Yes, like it put. And was noksiza abantu nje fela, and the misogyny is so rife that amadoda akhona bakhona nokubona when a man has basically met the woman that is gonna save his life, given that he was on his way nje fela to some deathbed, cause mega destructive that much. Cause he was that destructive. Hey, leno lazam since di busy ngampunga. Maybe I am half Zulu, half Tswana. That's how much hair I broke. That's how much hair fell out or broke or shed. I don't know what you want to call it. So anyway, whatever. Yeah, lazy guys, these Okies, they were so envious of our relationship because you know what, I can't even say that Zabo were not ride or die. Wickedness will always covet or envy righteousness. I was not righteous because I was not born again, but I was a better woman than what my ex had seen before. And men, his boys were cheating. They were cheats. They had dalliances all over Johannesburg. They were not loving. They were not loving to women. Maybe attentive and all that jazz. Maybe even about this Speedy Gonzalez, the incredible Flash in that department. Angazi, just selfish guys that women are settling and hard for. Like settling and hard for. Just because you have strong feelings for a guy when also tatas the Flash ganjan. Are you gonna just accept the Flash? Or because you want to be in a relationship, you just take a man that you have very strong feelings for. Mara, I get called loving. He's not loving. He's not there. He's not available emotionally. He is all different kinds of aloof. Mara, when you take it, because apparently I'm not anjalo. That's the kind of stuff that causes abafazi to basically just kind of lose their minds. They lose their minds. They lose their minds. And so what was happening there is that not only was jealousy coming from his side, his boys, it came from my side as well. I was the girl dating the guy, I guess, that did not have much. And we were very tight, we were close. Men coveted how ride or die I was to him. Women coveted how loving he was to me. So men envied the backbone woman that is there for a man, like no man's business, and the ladies envied the flowers, the respect, the adoration, the constant attention, I'm gonna kick it, y'all go ahead. I think I'm gonna kick it with my girl today. The fact that I was there with him everywhere, the fact that we did everything together, the fact that we were very affectionate, public displays of affection and all that jazz from the very beginning to the end. It never got dry. We were never, I don't know of any other couple around us that was as affectionate as we were with each other, like constantly just goodness, I'm wiping the mirror over here, like hand holding and personalities. Like, he was very funny, he was always making jokes and I was always just laughing and what have you, very content with each other type thing. Abafazi, when they look at that, when they see that and they don't have it, they covet it, they envy it. Women envy loved women. Abafazi that are regarded well by their husbands, women that are treated well, that are given, foot massages and like bought roses and like bought chocolates and called 20 times a day, texted all day, every day, and like you're always just being told you're loved and whatnot. Women want that because women want to be loved. And so they envy love, they envy their friends when they're in very loving relationships, and men envy the Proverbs 31 woman, the ride or die chick that is there for a guy. They covet that. They envy it because the Proverbs 31 lady gives a man clout in society. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, it's written of her in God's word that her husband has full confidence in her. He is praised at the city gates. So when a man has a helper suitable so extreme that he becomes a powerful man because a woman has basically been there like a bear for him as the wind beneath his wings, Amatota envy that. And my ex's friends could see that from a mile away in me. They could see from a mile away that my ex was going to become a transformed human being because of me, and they literally nipped it in the freaking bud. They nipped it in the bud as early as 6 months into the relationship. That's when everything just fell apart. Yes, his brother got sick and passed away, and that caused a lot of stress in his life. But the changes that happened in my ex-boyfriend, like all of the nonsense, even the bereavement season where it is that he was mourning his brother, he was not with me. He was not looking at me. He was not loving me. He was not finding solace and comfort in me. He acted out with Abangan Bakona. He got drunk. He became unmanageable. He chose them at some point instead of me to grieve through. And for me, it was like, yo, that was a big alarm bell, because it's like, when something so massive in your life happens and you can't lean on me, how am I ever going to be your wife? If I was kalanam or on me, or if you cannot still yourself in me when you are in pain. Yes, like it, life has got peaks and troughs, dude. Life has so many ups and downs. Life has so many tragedies. Life has got so much that if you cannot ride that so muchness with a woman, but you would much rather become like baboons in a man cave. Namatota amanye. I'm facing a future of nothingness, empty. Like, yo, yeah, man, my ex-boyfriend showed me flames. Yes, like his bereavement of his brother, it showed me that he will never ever look at me as a shoulder. Like, why under heaven, when I've been so ride or die to you, when nobody else is trying to look at you as a man, why can you not cry with me when you have lost your brother? If you're going to spend all of your time manje nabangani bako and not even try to bring me into your pain so I can at least relate, seeing as I didn't know his brother for that long. Like the brother passed away just like the relationship was 6 months old. It was when he got sick, right? No, it wasn't. It was like 3 or 4 months old. So I did not know the family that well. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. What I'm trying to explain to you guys is that this dude showed me flames and nothing ever got corrected. Our 1-year anniversary was go hard to be a sport, and he broke my heart so much. We were there with another couple. They decided to take drugs even though he had promised me that he's off that stuff, and they made a fool out of me. The next morning, everybody was crashed and burned, and I had to drive them home. Even though it wasn't my car, it was a friend's car. Why are you guys so tired? What's up? Why are you so tired? Why are you guys so tired? And they were like, no, just drive. And I'm like, but we all drank the same alcohol. Why are you guys so tired? Until when we got home, I asked him, I was like, did you guys take drugs? And he confessed it. He confessed that they took drugs and so they crashed. That's why I didn't crash, because I had alcohol. And then I woke up the next morning. I didn't have a hangover, thankfully. And I was the one that drove from Harties back to Johannesburg. And yeah, I was told, he confessed that they drove out to a casino in that area and bought drugs. And then the guy came back with them and they took them. And my ex told them that my girlfriend will not be part of this because she hates this stuff. And so they were like, fine, it'll be a secret between the 3 of us. Like him and his girlfriend, my ex's friend and his girlfriend took these drugs and with my ex, and the 3 of them were shooting, like basically bouncing up against the walls. Because I understand what's up with them. First of all, I got tired. Like we were drinking and then I started to feel like, okay, it's time to go sleep now. And everybody was just so energetic. I didn't understand what was going on. And then the next morning, I was the only one that had energy because they crashed. So they couldn't sleep because of the drugs. And then once they had slept, when they woke up, they were slumped because of the drugs. And I was the only one that had any vibrancy in them. And they made me drive home. Yeah, they made me drive home. Not only that, what actually made me realize that my ex had taken drugs was because the first time that I interrogated him about taking drugs in my presence, that same night, it was the very beginning of our relationship, and we had just newly started fornicating, and everything was working fine. I apologize if you feel the details are unnecessary. Everything was working fine until that one day, go in this free park where he took some drugs, and that same evening or the same night, nothing was working. All the machinery was broken, and I was like, am I not attractive anymore? It's only been like so short. We've only been together for this long, and already you've lost attraction for me. Is that what's going on? He had erectile dysfunction. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. And being as smart as I am, I put 2 and 2 together. I did the mathematics. I did biology in school. I learned some things. I read Cosmopolitan magazine at this point. And so I was like, did you take drugs? Is that why you couldn't do anything yesterday? And then he confessed. We nearly broke up over that, and that's when he stopped taking the drugs. Couple of months down the line, progress, we go to Hartisi on our 1-year anniversary, and then the same thing happens. And this time around, I was still daft. I was still like, dumb, until I saw how much they all crashed the next day. They all slumped the next day. Yeah. And then when we got home and it was just the 2 of us, I was like, did you take drugs? He was like, yeah, he finally confessed. Did we break up? I don't know. I just kept breaking up with that guy and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together. At that stage, he had already lost his brother, so I felt guilty. Can't leave a guy high and dry, going through so much sorrow. But like, nah, I could, like, I'm funimina uguyo pesuka. First of all, in prison, and secondly, I also don't want to attend the funeral of a boyfriend. So this guy could, and the guy, by the way, that bought the drugs at the casino, he drove out and then came back with these drugs. It's the same one. It's the one who basically nudged him to go and sleep with some other woman that had the crush on me that lived in this neighborhood. That guy wreaked so much havoc in the beginning of our relationship. Towards the end, it appears he had given up on trying to break us up. But by then, there were other people coming at us. I stuck by his side despite his witchcraft. And then his best friend ultimately broke us up as well with witchcraft. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on. From my side, I can't really say that there were any of my friends that try to break us up, but from what the Lord showed me, then again it could be just speculation, but the Lord showed me that he slept with one of my friends, and I don't know which one. I keep asking, who among my friends did this guy sleep with? Remember, I told you guys that black girls don't care about each other. I've experienced a situation in the past where there was a woman, a girl that was sleeping with the boyfriend of a mutual friend, and all of us were friends. And nobody told this chick, and the woman in question that cheated with the boyfriend was also the friend of this girl, and none of us told her. None of us told her. Like, umngani wakho is sleeping with your man and no one is telling you. I've been in a situation like that before, and I was among the people that, you know, hush hush, kept quiet. That level of betrayal. And from what the Lord showed me, after long years after we broke up, the Lord was like, Lona wants you back, and yet he slept with one of your friends. And one of the friends of which that he slept with still continued to be friends with you afterwards. And how it happened, I don't know. How it happened, I have no clue. I don't know how my ex would ever sleep with any of my friends. Like, I don't know how that would happen. But like this, a man that has cheated on you with some strange women, sometimes not even using protection, so basically putting your life at risk, and then sleeping with one of your friends, and then allowing himself to break the heart of the only woman that's ever been ride or die to him. That's no longer a victim. I'm mentioning all of these things so that you can understand at what point can you seek concession from God? At what point can you ask the Lord to give you a chance, to cut you some slack, to not be so harsh on you? Or at what point will the Lord perhaps even spare you from being dissolved altogether? The Lord will spare you from being dissolved by sorcery and everything that is coming up against you and everything around you, insofar as you don't make out of yourself a perpetrator too. My ex was a massive victim of his friends, my friends, people that coveted. Like I said, we didn't have much. And yet, despite not having much, they envied it because people, they know that God is real. They know. People know that God is real. You guys, not only do these humans know that Jesus is Lord, they also know what they need and what they want. But they are always so greedy and so selfish and thinking that they can do better, and they're always second guessing themselves. So women gun for men with nothing but money, even though they're hella rude sometimes, even though they're hella pompous sometimes, even though they're disrespectful. They are so selfish that you can't even imagine him as a husband. Like, you just want to marry a man that has money. He's your husband, so he's gonna put babies in your stomach, but he's selfish. What the hell is he gonna do in the bedroom when he's that selfish? Selfish men have sex and finish without wondering whether or not you're okay. They don't try to study what you need. They don't try to figure out what makes you tick and what doesn't. They don't go out of their way to be there for you intimately because they have money, and all they imagine that their money is all that they need and not have to get trained de menace. So Gibbo Speedy Gonzalez, like Sonic the Hedgehog, he's the Flash. The Flash prospers to impregnate a woman. Yeah, but you're left high and dry, just sitting there in a corner. Kind of guy to wake you up in the middle of the night. There's like a baby that you had to stay up until 1 a.m. lulling to sleep. And with that being a phenomenon, he still wakes you up trying to have sex. Like, that is what is going on. Guys that get upset when you don't want to have sex because or whatever. Like, they guilt trip you. I had a boyfriend like that who once made me have sex with him without a condom because there were no condoms around. He couldn't find one. And Ona Frazo Kitabora, I didn't trust him. I imagined he would give me HIV seeing as he was busy all over the show. with all different kinds of women, and he gave me so much attitude. He treated me so harshly, like he was mean. He did not rape me, but he guilt tripped me into finally having sex with him without protection. Anzali a cheat. He was like a prolific, nightmarish cheat of a boyfriend. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And I ended up capitulating to sexual activity precisely because and I didn't want to upset him. That's a selfish guy right there. This guy, my ex that I was with, the one that when I was getting convicted of the things of God, because I started to get convicted of God, of sin and stuff during the relationship. Well, at the time when we were close to our breakup, because there was a time when I had gone to what do you call this? Like not a salon. I had gone to, what do you call this? We had broken up, so because we were always just breaking up. We had broken up, my ex and I, right? And because of the breakup, I went to like some party, some 25th birthday establishment of a friend of ours, of a friend of mine. And there I got low-key evangelized because I was asking how long must you take before having sex with a guy that you're with, because I was broken up with my ex, and this time around I really wanted to be done. This time around I really wanted to go. And so, however, I was all concerned about having sex again. I was really concerned about having sex again because I did not want to just keep having sex with new guys. Like it was, yeah, that was a massive turn off to me. I'm doing edits up tops, guys, if you're wondering what I'm doing, looking up there. Yeah, and so that kind of evangelized me. It low-key evangelized me. It did. I got saved. I wasn't entirely saved, but I was convicted of sin because at this party I was told about generational curses, and I believed what this chick was saying. Not generational curses, but soul ties, sex. I was told that I must wait until marriage, and her argument was quite compelling. And so because her argument was compelling, like I was at a party, like boof boof, music is like going and going. And I got convicted, like very extremely, until I went and I researched the things of God. And it was in this season when I was busy researching, I eventually got back together with my ex. We had broken up, but then we got back together again. And when we got back together, I was like all apprehensive about having sex. I was like, I don't want to have sex. He was like, but why? We've been doing it all this time. And I was like, because God said so. And he was like, oh, he didn't give me grief. Like he wasn't cold or mean or rude or feeling like, so what? We gotta marry for us to do that again? Like, yeah, whoa, that's what, like, he didn't give me grief, like, even in the slightest, like, at all. He was just like, oh. And he would come visit me, and we would sleep in the same bed and not have sex, and he was not trying. He was not upset. He was not, what is the word that I'm looking for? He was not arrogant, agitated, arrogant, like, how men get sometimes. Not men. These rude, nasty, no-brainers that are entitled sexually to you. Yeah, they get aggressive and passive aggressive. Like, I'm not speaking rape type aggression, but I am speaking the kind of aggression that, like, you can feel that a person is angry at you because you don't want to have sex. I've experienced that before. I never got any such hints, not even a whiff of aggression from him. He was just like, oh, like just surprised, like puzzled on some, oh, like, yeah. The thing that for me, like, kind of stood out was when he was like, but we've been doing it all along. Why the sudden change? And when I explained to him that because Jesus said so, like, God is not content with sex before marriage, he was like, oh. And he didn't push. He was not aggressive. He was not mean. He was not cold-spirited. Nothing. However, he didn't stop trying to have sex with me, like seduce me essentially. But whenever I would be like no, he would be like, oh, okay. And he wasn't mean about it. He wasn't cold. He wasn't awkward. He wasn't strange. He wasn't odd. And this lasted for like a month or something, like a month. Yeah, a month and a half to 2 months of me being like, I don't want to have sex because Jesus said so. And the whole time the guy was so chill. He was so chill. Like, he was not trying to ugungi foster. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or even give me attitude along the lines of, what am I gonna do with a woman that doesn't want to have sex with me? Like, you're useless to me. There's nothing I can do with you anymore. He was a total gentleman. That's what I'm trying to explain. He was like that as well in the very beginning of our relationship. The first time we kissed, he did not meander his hands. all over the show, trying to like grope everything else. He kept them on my shoulders. I was the one that was touching around everywhere, and he kept his hands on my shoulders because he was a decent guy. He was one of the guys. He was one of the decent guys. And this dude that came with all that decency, I ran with whatever it is that he had to offer because I wanted that. I wanted to be respected, regarded. I wanted to be adored. I wanted to be loved. I wanted a man that would not get irritated with me when I don't want to have sex. I wanted a guy that would not be selfish, with anything at all that I needed. And again, this dude was so selfless in the relationship that, like I said, I discovered some things about myself, my sexuality, if you want to call it that, because of his patience and because of his generosity in that regard. I was very happy in that relationship. In light of the things of the birds and the bees, I was extremely happy because I had never been paid attention to like that before by a guy. It wasn't broken, and for me it was like, yo, sizo sebenza on everything else that we need to sebenza on, because everything else is in place. It's very hard to find these things in men, and so and in the beginning, I'm all oily lana. In the beginning, he was happy to improve upon all those other things that were outstanding, type thing, and then he just stopped somewhere along the way because of friends, influenced by friends. I was loved throughout the relationship. I was catered to. There was attention paid to me. I never ever was told I was going to be called and then not called. I was never ghosted, never reverse psychology, never told I wasn't loved, never told, hey, but guys, there was never a dry season. Over his sudden glitches in behavior because of influence by friends. We were sabotaged, but at the same time, we were all sabotaged. I remember there was one time when there was this one wicked little lady at a party talking smack about my ex because she knew him from back in the day, and I did not know. We did not know her until that day, but she knew my ex from back in the day, and she couldn't help but speak smack. And the smack was along the lines of the fact that he's not man enough, something about those things. And I was very, very, very upset by that sentiment, all of those horrible things that she was speaking about my ex-boyfriend, but it never caused me to go and find something better out there in the sky. It did not cause me to cheat on him. It did not cause me to make a decision to hurt him because somebody spoke smack about him. If anything, I got angry. I got upset that this chick is bad-mouthing my man and she doesn't even know him in the way that I know him. Why didn't my ex get angry when his boys bad-mouthed me? Why didn't he get upset? Why didn't he just walk away? Why didn't he just crease his forehead on some, you don't know her like I know her? Why didn't he stand for me? Why did he not stand up for me? What I'm trying to explain is that black people bayahlanya. Black folk are full of sabotage. Sabotage, ria sabotacha. Na 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 ria burata sabotacha. Na 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 ria burata sabotacha. Black people are full of sabotage. Mara. We are not all made equal in how we react to sabotage. So, I bana o batla go lo tlhokomela relationship ya hao, monna hao, mosadi wa hao. You will just see sabotage, ria sabotacha for what it is, and you will then stick with what works for you. I bana motho o go ratile rati in a way that don't nobody else love you. Like if you have a history of an ex-boyfriend finally causing you to capitulate to having sex without a condom because he couldn't find condoms and he got upset, when that's your history, and then you meet a man that you tell after years of having sex, like all these years, and you meet somebody that you tell them, look, Jesus doesn't like me having sex outside of marriage, and he doesn't push you, he doesn't give you grief, he doesn't even give you attitude, you don't even feel a difference in his behavior because of what you just told him. That's the kind of stuff you just kind of stick with, like you hang with it, because lo muntu lona again a pressure, lo muntu lona again a attitude. This person does not have rubbish dwelling in the heart. I'm living with it, I'm running with this. Mina ngayithatha. When you see something for what it is, you hang on to it. But some people, despite seeing something that is worthy of hanging onto, they allow themselves to get taken over by these sabotaging randos, these sabotagers. They end up just allowing themselves to kuthathwa njengesabotage. Bayathatheka. Umuntu uzohleba igirlfriend yakho bese uyamlalela. Umuntu uzohleba iboyfriend yakho bese uyamlalela. A person is going to go and speak smack about somebody that you have spent like literally most of your life with for years. Like that's the person that sees you the most out of the whole planet. And you spend all this time now, and you enjoy yourself a lot when you're with them, and you don't like anything in that season. And then you start passing the chick shade, bro, really, we're doing that? And then you start giving her attitude, you start basically standing her up, you start doing things that man, like, why are you breaking my heart so much? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Whoever it is that is the perpetrator, they don't get given a concession. Because they don't get given a concession when it becomes evident that they were sabotaged. The only day that you can actually take the sabotage done against you to God is when you have not actively participated in the sabotage against another person. Guys, let's move to a final part of this thing because I've already been speaking for an hour 10 minutes.